This episode is sponsored by Off the Beaten Path. Use code FEY10, that's FEY10, at checkout to get 10% off all of your music commissions. Thank you so much, Off the Beaten Path. Now please enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to Feyfinders, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast navigating listeners into the vague and supernatural. My name is Sam, and I will be your Dungeon Master for Campaign Elements. And playing with me is the captivating Caitlin.
Good evening, everyone.
The amazing Amancio.
Hide your plants, listeners.
And the jubilant Jupiter.
Hi, everyone.
Now let us try to restore the elements. Last episode, Luna, Benny, and Anu sank through quicksand into a chamber made out of black volcanic rock. The party had to utilize fire in order to uncover the secrets of this ancient place. They were faced with many challenging puzzles where one wrong move meant great catastrophe. Luna, Benny, and Anu were eventually able to ascend the tower-like structure to eventually come face to face with the dark, shadowy figure that summoned 3 fire Goliaths for the party to engage in their most heated battle yet. But the party rallied their strength and was able to defeat this latest foe, and were transported to the holding place of the Spirit of Fire, which they were able to release, and were met with yet another vision of the past, filling in more details from the events of the Spirit's fall. The party was then able to exit the tower to discover that the land of Lilivel felt less stifling, and the budding mountain of fire had begun to return. We open with Luna, Benny, and Anu walking back to the gathering camp, having forgotten the way to summon Spear.
I feel like next time we should really write down directions when they're given to us.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea. You think these rations have meat in them, and I could just lay it out, and Spear would, smell it wafting over the dunes of sand and come pick us up?
Or what if there's other things out here, and we just, like those cats?
Yeah, I'd rather
sand
not.
Cats.
Yeah, probably not best to lay that out. I'd rather not take our chances with whatever might show up that smells it.
All right, well, walking it is, and, well, if we're walking back, there's gonna be a smell either way.
Yes. So you continue your walk back to the camp, and eventually you do return to the camp and find that there is a breeze that has followed you there. The Lilivelians seemed confused and delighted. You go back, and are you heading straight back to Aramina's tent, or are you gonna go shopping first?
Aramina's tent first, then maybe she'll finagle us some deals with the local markets.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Let's make sure they know what's going on.
Surely a material reward for freeing the fire spirit.
You shall
Cactus
see.
juice?
All the cactus juice.
Lifetime supply.
We can only dream.
So you head back to Aramina's tent. It is still open and she is milling about, sort of looking over more papers and checking in with everyone. You were only gone for about a day and a half. And as you walk in, she says, "A bargain is a bargain. A spear is yours by right. You have returned. And that could only mean that you were successful."
We absolutely were. It wasn't easy. Benny looks from party member to party member and then down to herself as they're like singed. but we got it done.
Things got a little hairy. I'm a little more hairless. But we're here.
And you have produced this proof? We had agreed that you would show me proof of the spirits.
Of course. And Benny reaches in and looks at like the tiny little tuft of grass that she pulled from the top of the sand. And she like hands it out, and it's only like just starting to wilt from their walk there.
And you see Aramina's face just like go wide-eyed and so like intently staring at what's in your hand.
When we got out, I picked this. It grew out of the ground when we set free the fire spirit.
Well, this hasn't been seen in this country for 500 years. And she kind of like shakes her head a little bit. Well, as I did say, a bargain is a bargain. So spear is yours by right, though not by heart. He's been my companion for many battles. Perhaps I can tempt you with a more practical reward. How does 3 gazelles sound? And if you're going to go outside of Lillivel, then spear will be of little use to you anyways. He won't do well outside of the desert heat.
What's a gazelle?
And I'd rather not leave the guy uncomfortable. I mean, come on.
My thoughts exactly. He's been such a great companion thus far. I mean, he took us exactly where we needed to go.
Yeah, if only you took us back.
Where is he, by the way?
About that, we were curious if perhaps he had returned. He wasn't waiting for us when we came back out at the temple, and none of us could remember how to call him exactly.
It's odd. Spear would never just abandon. Either way, and you see her step sort of like closer to the entrance of the tent and stick her head out a little bit and do really like 2 really sharp piercing whistle sounds, and you just hear like rumbling through the ground as you see a little mound of sand just moving ever closer to the tent as Spear emerges from the sand pile and just peeks his head out and sort of like unburies from this mound, and then almost like in a dog-like fashion sort of goes up to Aramina and is like waiting for a head pat.
Well, that's that.
I'm glad that he made it back okay.
Yes, well, I have been swayed. It seems clear that the spirits are real, and I suspect you have something to do with this little break in the heat that has never happened before in the summer months in this land. As such, you are really doing good for this land. And the wilds are far from your home. I wish you good fortune on your journey as you continue to do whatever it is you are doing to rectify this catastrophe that has been plaguing the land for so long. And she sort of gives a very shallow bow of her head in respect.
Well, your appreciation is much appreciated.
And though we're strangers, We appreciate you placing your trust and hospitality in us.
Well, all of that aside, know this. The wonders of Concordia are vast, but going to the center is far more daunting than any land that you have traversed before. None have ever been able to breach its foggy wall in 500 years. Know this is true. Darkness gathers there. 'Tis a cursed land, and my people, nomadic as they are forbidden to go within 100 leagues of the border. Know that once you enter, if you can, you go, and you will be lost to all those who have loved you.
What do you mean lost?
None who go in there have ever ventured out. It is a land plagued by darkness, and there is no way to exit once you have breached that wall.
Well, I mean, we've come this far and freed the elements. Perhaps we can do the same there.
I wish you good fortune. That is all I can do for you.
Thank you.
Funny question. I was looking over my supplies, and I have just about enough to build a little homunculus, but I'm missing a piece of amber. In your vast markets here, do you have anyone that sells raw stones?
Oh, sure. If you go to the glassblower Ruby, he does quite a lot of, different sort of crafting. Glassblowing being the most exported good from him, but I'm sure he would have a piece of amber.
Thank you, Armina.
It is a pleasure. For the potential saviors of our whole land. I shall have the gazelles ready for you. Whenever you're prepared to leave, just go back to see Fennec. He does most of the caring for our steeds.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Truly.
She does another shallow nod and just sort of gestures for you to exit her tent.
As we exit, I lean over, Luna leans over Benny and goes, "Do you know what a gazelle is?"
I think from the clothes merchant, one of us is wearing one, but I don't remember which. She looks at everyone's vests.
Yeah. So you guys start making your way back to the great marketplace in the center with a bunch of tents sort of lining around this circle. You can see still that there is all of the same people are still there. Drought is yelling for people to come and get their cactus juice. You can see Hestia and Horace still selling a whole bunch of different meats. You can see Heath, the clothing merchant, is sort of out pressing down some new wares. And then you can see a fire genasi who is currently outside of his little tent, and he is blowing what looks like a goblet.
Benny, now tiefling on a mission, is going to walk towards the fire genasi, but also in a state of awe. Benny's never seen anyone blow glass before, so she's a little bit mesmerized by this genasi's trade. So she's going to be kind of wide-eyed staring a little bit as she approaches very meekly to a safe distance, and then just stands and watches as they continue to craft.
Yeah, and you can just see that this fire genasi is so focused on this task, and is like rolling the rod that the glass stem is connected to, and is just very much like looking and sort of having these big metal tweezers, is sort of pulling it in different directions to sort of make almost like what would look like a flower-shaped cup where you would drink out of, and sort of like meticulously doing these intricate designs.
Luna, Anu, do you guys see this?
This is incredible. It's all so beautiful.
I've never seen anything like it.
Do you think it's really delicate? Like, could I bring something like that with us?
I think if you took real good care of it.
Oh, after yesterday, I don't know that I can guarantee that.
I just won't open any random doors, and then we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, besides, we're only going to a place that no one's ever returned from ever. I mean, how dangerous can it be?
You know, and then at that point, you wouldn't even have to worry about getting it home.
Yeah, we'll just worry about getting your cell phone.
I mean...
don't you know mending? You can cast mending.
I don't personally, but maybe I could work on it. Let's not worry about the metal too much. Everyone that hasn't come back was before the elements were returned. We don't know for sure how bad it's gonna be.
That's
I
true.
was thinking the same
Don't
thing,
do that,
actually.
Sam!
But we may be a little overconfident. I feel it from my deity.
You know, I think I heard that too.
I am the spirits and they are laughing at you. No. I am the shadowy figure that is laughing at you. No, anyways. So as you guys are chatting and sort of like observing this glass blowing, Ruby sort of looks up at you, sort of feeling the eyes on him, and is like, are you curious about my trade? Or are you just admiring the view?
Benny instantly goes, both. I mean, what? How do I word? What you're doing I've never seen before, and it looks beautiful.
How do you do it?
He smirks and just kind of like looks up at you guys, shakes his head, and goes back to the blowing. Well, glass is simply sand, but heated up to exponential degrees. So essentially what you do is you have to take sand, heat it up, and then you blow into this tube, and then you have to use these metal tweezers, and you have to shape it. And he sort of demonstrates as he's doing his craft. And then eventually, as he's finishing up, and he cuts off the stem that is connected to the long tube, and he kind of like puts it down into the sand in front of his tent, and kind of is like, voila, you have a cup.
Wow. We gotta figure out how to make one of these back home.
You'll need a lot of sand.
Maybe there'll be some at home after we, get back.
I honestly don't know if there might be sand up there.
Well, anyways, what can I do for you?
Hi. Aramina said that if I wanted to find a gemstone or a crystal, I was looking for like amber or maybe some amethyst, that you would be the person to ask.
Let me check my stock. And he picks up the cup and kind of tosses it in his hand, like flipping it over. and just continuously does that as he's walking into his tent, places it down on a work table, and then starts rummaging through a chest just behind his work table. And he pulls out a piece of amber and a tiny crystal of amethyst, as well as a small, like almost what you would see on a ring, a very small sapphire.
I don't wanna prejudge because I don't know the value of these things, but in order for me to make an homunculus, I need one worth 100 gold pieces. Does one of these fit that bill?
Oh, you're looking for a really big piece of amber.
Yeah.
All right. And he takes out this huge chunk of unchipped rock, and it plops on the table in a big clash. It sort of like shakes the goblet a little bit off kilter, and it literally makes the gemstones jump. And he's like, I can break you up a piece of amber.
Wow. Thank you. I must admit, I don't have quite that much gold, but I do have other things from other regions that I could include as a trade.
How much do you got?
I have 54 gold, and she starts digging around in her bag, and she's like, and I have, oh geez, not as much as I thought I did. And she's like digging through, and she finds like some of her clothes from Philoven, not the furs that she traded, but some of her other nicer wares. And then she pulls out this one little flask, and she's like, this is an explosion in a bottle. She places it very gently on the table. I've been working on that formulation for combat. If you shatter it, boom. Working title, alchemists, doom.
Alright, I'll take that. That seems practical. How about let's do 30 gold as the rest of the compensation?
Thank you. That's so generous. Please be careful with that guy. Don't uncork it unless shadow panthers or something.
Oh, I intend to use it for demolition purposes. How do you think I get these stones?
Oh, I hadn't really... Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Alright, well, I'm gonna start chipping away. If you want to do anything in the meantime, I'll be about, 5 minutes to get a proper smoothed out surface.
Thank you.
See you in 5.
Benny will turn around to face Luna and Anu. So that flask I was talking about with Ruby there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I forgot that Dad packed those in my bag. I've got 9 more.
Those are gonna come in handy.
I was thinking so.
Well, this is great.
Did either of you two have anything you wanted to look for?
I want more cactus juice before we go, for sure.
I'll second that.
Okay, cactus juice first, and then we can see.
So you guys head back over to this cactus juice stand where this Yanti is still yelling, "Get your cactus juice! It's so hot outside and nobody wants the cactus juice? Come on, you all want your cactus juice." Ah, welcome back! More cactus juice?
Yes, please.
And this Yanti just starts distributing these cactus juices to you, cuts into them, has a full, large, circular half of these, cactus bulbs, and it's like, enjoy your cactus juice, it is the quenchiest.
Indeed it is, indeed it is.
Thank you.
From your lips to the god's ears.
I've never heard that saying before, but that sounds great. So you all enjoy your cactus juice. And 5 minutes goes pretty quick while you're enjoying your quenchiest of quenchables. And you head back over to Ruby, and he gives you this very large chunk of amber. It's all smoothed over, so it's almost like a palm stone, but it fits the entire surface of your hand, and you almost need 2 hands to hold it because it is so large and heavy. It's very smoothed over. It looks like it has been buffed and put a glossy finish over it. It looks like a very nice stone. And he just hands it over to you, plops it in your hand, and says, "Pleasure doing business."
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, doll.
Luna, Anu, do you guys mind if we postpone our departure till we can rest and I can do something with this? She holds the amber out.
Absolutely not. We should all lay up for a little while, because I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little scorched and singed.
Luna looks down at herself and is like, yeah, I think perhaps a rest would be best.
Oh, okay, well, wonderful.
So you guys all, are you trying to look for an empty tent, one that looks like it's not occupied yet? So the system kind of works that yes, people set up their own tents, but there is some tents set up for stragglers, so you can sort of pop into to kind of beat the heat, because the Lilivellians are so used to having to find coverage. There's little napping tents set up, so you can go and find one of those and do a long rest. Heal your weary bones.
Finally.
Benny's gonna start tinkering to make her homunculus servant, and once she feels good about her little tiny construct, then she'll go take a nap.
So the day wanes on. You guys take a very long 8-hour nap. The sky is starting to wane. It does look like it's starting to become nightfall. You can see that people are putting up torches for better lighting. The market is still bustling. You can still hear the music and the sounds of people still reveling, especially now because it's not as hot. People are having a little bit more energy and sort of partying for a little bit longer into the evening. Are you wanting to sort of hang out until daybreak again? Enjoy the festivities, take more sleep and rest until the next leg of your journey, or are you sort of wanting to make your way now towards the border?
Real quick, so we did just finish a long rest. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then, with that, I have a new thing. I'm gonna use one of my charges for Cosmic Omen. I roll a dice, and depending on if it's odd or even, I get a thing till my next long rest.
Nice.
Alright. I rolled a 13, which means I get woe. So till my next long rest, whenever a creature I can see within 30 feet of me is about to make an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check, I can use my reaction to roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from the total.
Perfect. So were you wanting to stay in town for a little bit longer, or are you kind of ready to get your way towards Darborough?
What do you guys think? Do you need more time to rest, or should we set out?
I mean, as much as I'd love to sit around drinking cactus juice for a couple of days, there ain't no rest for the weary. We do have to get moving.
Do you have to remember, wasn't what those shadow things? Didn't that happen at night?
Yes.
Do we want to have to possibly deal with those again?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should flip a coin?
What do you think, Anu?
I suppose so.
Okay, does somebody want to roll a d4, then odds are tails and heads are even?
Sure thing.
And then also call it before you do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, who wants to call it?
Evens we go.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 2.
All right,
Guess we're
evens you
going.
go.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So you all start making your way to where Aramina had said that Fennec would be caring for the steeds, where you can pick up your gazelles. You start to approach sort of the edge of the encampment, and you can see that there is a human man who is brushing down this sort of almost quadrupedal animal with very long horns. Sort of looks like a horse. I actually don't know if you guys have never seen a horse either. It kind of looks like almost maybe like an Arctic deer is the closest to what you would be able to associate it with, but the horns are sort of like tiefling horns. It's got a very glossy brown coat. It looks very regal, and it's sort of standing there with a saddle on its back already, and looking very, very intrigued as you approach.
Oh, it's like a deer, but like a desert deer. If it had horns like us, Benny.
They're beautiful. Oh, I think we got the better end of the deal.
Luna looks between the gazelles and between the party to see who has something that looks like the gazelle's fur.
You look between the party, and I honestly also can't remember who had what. So I know that Anu had the black snake skin.
Yes, yeah.
So it's either Benny or Luna.
Well, I have a tan lace-up shirt, so I think it might be me.
I think it might be you.
Oh no, I'm the one that's wearing the gazelle, Betty.
Don't say it so loud, they might hear you.
Oh god, they might, oh god.
I'm sure it's fine. It smells like you now. They probably won't know.
It's fine. Yeah, you'll probably right. It's probably fine.
Roll a perception check, Luna.
Oh god. That's gonna be an 11.
You think that as the gazelle is looking over at you, you perceive it to be that it's looking straight at your shirt and being like, oh, my brother.
Oh my god.
So you guys all walk up to Fennec, and he sort of looks over and is like, "Oh, hi. I was told that you were all coming. I have these 3 gazelles ready and saddled for you."
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fennec. As far as gazelles go, they're new to us. What do we need to know or do, or maybe not do with them?
Well, they're very fast, so you're definitely going to want to hold on tight and squeeze with your thighs to stay on. You want to pull right if you want to go right, pull left if you want to go left on the reins, and don't kick them, though. Squeeze, but don't kick. And if you want them to go, you just do the little kiss noise with your mouth twice, and then you'll be going. If you want them to stop, you just pull straight back, but not too hard.
All right, I think I got all that.
Seems easy enough.
I think so.
Well, good luck. I hope your adventure into the most dangerous part of our entire continent goes super well.
Thanks a lot, Fennec.
He looks over at the gazelles and is like, "I'm so sorry that you have to be the ones to go through this." And then he hands you guys the reins and is like, "Here you go."
Benny starts to have mixed emotions as she looks into her gazelle's big, beautiful eyes.
So you all mount your gazelles and start heading just straight into the center. So it's a little bit sort of like north and then east of where you are right now. It does take a long time to get there because it's sort of like it is like a big circle. So where the border meets in the middle of all of the different domains, it is sort of like it's a journey to get there. So as you are on your journey, 'tis the middle of the night, and as you're walking, you haven't put on a fire because it must have slipped your all mind, even though you did know that there was the Shadow Panthers around the area. And so as you're walking, you hear the lilting lullaby that you had heard before. And everyone can make a wisdom saving throw.
24.
Nice.
17.
Nice.
Also 17.
Gorgeous. So you all save. So you just see in the distance, you're not drawn towards these, they're actually shadow leopards, but I called them shadow panthers accidentally, but you see the eyes of these shadow leopards in the distance as they start to approach and they're circling you. There seems to be about 3 of them at this time. Where the others are, you have no clue, but they are starting to approach you.
Any chance we can outrun them, you think?
Maybe if we put a fire on one side, we can use that to bolt.
In response to that, Luna is going to cast create bonfire as far as she can out to where we saw the panthers.
Yeah, you do that, and you see them all start to shrink away from the fire. They seem to be extra angry tonight, so they're trying to circle around it as best as possible. And you see, on the other side of you, that another shadow leopard had started to advance and is running at you all. So the other 3 were a distraction tactic, and this one is jumping and trying to, leap and attack Anu. And we're just gonna all roll initiative.
Fluff.
18.
Nice.
12.
16.
Nice. So it will be Anu. Oh wait, no. It's gonna be the leopards. And then Anu. And then Luna. And then Benny. right. So the 3 other leopards are still being held at bay because of the fire that you have put around them to keep them away from you all. But this shadow leopard is jumping in to attack Anu and is going to try to bite you.
It's terrible.
And that is going to be 14.
That misses.
All right. So as it sort of starts to leap towards you, you sort of duck back on your gazelle just in time, and the shadow leopard lands just beside you, and is growling and baring its teeth. You can see its sort of smoky body is sort of shifting as it's moving.
All right. Is it my turn now?
It is.
Yes. All right. I'm going to cast daylight on it.
Okay.
And I suppose that is it. That is my turn.
Nice. Are you going to try to, like, bolt away with your gazelles?
Oh,
or are
yes.
you... Okay.
Yes, I'm going to try to get away from this thing and just actively try to bite me.
Yeah. It has toxic bites that make you drowsy. And unfortunate things happen when you go to sleep. So... yeah, you have essentially, like, blinded this shadow leopard with this bright light that has suddenly appeared. You can see that the body of the shadow leopard is very translucent. You can still see sort of, like, the body of it shift. It looks still, like, shadowy, and it's completely disoriented as you start to bolt away on your gazelle. And then it is Luna's turn.
Okay, the panther that just tried to attack Anu, Luna is going to cast Create Bonfire right where the panther is, which will drop the other Create Bonfire I did.
Okay.
And it is a Dex saving throw.
Nope. Definitely failed.
Alright, cool. It's gonna be 13 points of fire damage.
Nice. And you can see that that does take a really big hit on this shadow leopard, and it looks really angry, but also very singed. And the other 3 you can kind of see are starting to stir a little bit more in the darkness as they're getting very angry at seeing their companion start to get a beating, and you can hear very angry growls in the distance. Yeah, and then Benny.
The 3 that were at first held at bay by the bonfire, how far are they from our current party?
They're a good 30 feet.
Okay. Benny then is going to firebolt the one that is the closest and posing the most danger to us.
Mm-hmm.
That will be an 18 to hit.
It hits.
All right. 12 points of fire damage.
And you see this angry cat just start to shrink, and it ultimately dissipates, and its eyes, it's sort of like the Cheshire Cat, where its eyes are the last to disappear as it sort of blinks one last time and is dead and gone, with not a trace to be seen.
Running? Are we running?
Yes.
We're running.
Go.
So your gazelles just start to go out in an incredibly fast pace, breakneck speed, as the gazelles are also very spooked from these shadowy creatures. So you all start galloping away, and eventually you do come to the border between Lillivel and Darborough. Your gazelles are panting as they are very out of breath from this extreme, impromptu race to get away from the leopards. And you are met with a wall of fog so thick it is impossible to see through the mist, and it seems to be reaching towards the sky. It's sort of a really dark charcoal gray in color, and it looks like it's constantly moving, but it's very distinctly a sort of barrier between the beginning of Darborough and the end of Lillivel.
Looks like we almost made it.
Yeah. Do you think the fog is this thick naturally? Or do you think this is like a portal? Well,
Our current solution seems to be to gallop headfirst into it and find out the hard way. Do we want to hold off and assess things, or should we just take the risk?
I mean, it's working for us so far.
I think at least a quick look around would be wise. See if we can see anything.
So you want to sort of walk around the circumference a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of like walk down like the wall of fog and see if it's just fog or if there's anything else that we can pick up.
Yeah. Roll a investigation.
Ten.
Yeah, it's just a really thick wall of fog. It is impenetrable in terms of visibility.
Can I see what happens if I stick my arm in the fog?
Yeah, stick your arm in the fog.
So Luna just like slowly pushes her hands towards the fog and then sees if it will go in and what happens when her arm is in the fog.
Yeah, so your arm does penetrate the fog, and it almost feels solid. Like it's kind of like oily feeling, and it definitely feels like there is some resistance to you putting your hand through it, but your hand does go through the fog. And you, as soon as you put your appendage into this misty covering, you completely can't see it. It has disappeared.
Luna pulls her arm back out.
Yeah, and it looks like your arm is just your arm. Like, there's no residue of anything, there's no, like, markings. You just have your arm back.
Well, it doesn't appear that anything weird happens when you touch the fog, but it does feel thick.
It is acting as a border, nonetheless.
But it at least didn't hurt me going into it.
I wonder, let's try this. Benny casts her dancing lights, and with her range of 120 feet, she's gonna push them in a line and just see like one the furthest, one about a third from that, and then one about a third from her, and just kind of see the spread of the wall to see if she can see any of that light once she's pushed it into the fog.
As soon as you put your lights into the fog, they disappear entirely. You cannot see anything, any trace of them once they cross this border.
Is this an illusion? Can I make an investigation check?
You want to, like, ponder if it's an illusion? Do an Arcana.
Sure. That's an 18.
Yeah, so this fog is, despite it does have magical qualities, it is not an illusion. The fog is genuinely there. It is just that it is respecting the border and boundary of the different domains.
It looks like this fog is just sort of delineating the two different regions. Why the land would do that, I don't know. I don't know if this was here before the abandonment, but regardless, we should push on. It's safe to cross through, presumably.
Do we want to lash a rope between us so we don't get separated?
That would be so smart.
Well, hasn't failed us so far.
Benny uncoils the rope from her bag and hops off her gazelle. Do you think if we left them here, they'd go home?
I can ask.
Oh, right. You can do that.
I'm gonna cast Speak with Animals, and then turn to all the gazelles and go, "Hi. So we're gonna go in there, and obviously that looks quite terrifying. So we're thinking we might just leave you here, but we also don't want you to get hurt staying here. Will you be able to find your way home if we leave you?"
Oh, yes. Yes, we would. And you're quite dumb for venturing in there. It's quite an unfortunate choice, but if you must make it, I guess. But we will be most competent in making our way back to the camp.
Okay, that's good, but that comment was a little bit uncalled for. We have made it this far. Don't discount us.
Well, that will remain to be seen, in fact, but good luck nonetheless.
What's your name?
I am Prancy.
Prancy?
Prancy!
Prancy, right. Okay, well, thank you for the ride. We're gonna go save the world now, and then I'm gonna come find you when we're done. Just to prove you wrong.
Oh, yes, we've been transferred of ownership.
Benny, upon hearing, just these, grunts and calls back and forth, is, watching with, enamored eyes. Oh, I wonder what they're saying. Not realizing that their entire party is being, smack-talked. She's just so excited to see this happen.
Betty thinks it's just a really it's probably a really nice conversation, and I'm over here being what the fuck did you just say?
In Benny's head, it's just going well, we thank you for letting us go back home, and we'll be so careful. Take good care of yourselves. We can't wait to see you again.
So Luna's anyway, be safe. I hope you make it back perfectly fine. Thank you again for the ride.
Oh, yes, you as well. And do try to make it back, though we are not very, we won't hold our breaths. Thank you. Oh, check these guys out, God. This is going to be a disaster. And then they just start galloping away.
Luna just stands there for a second, and her eye is twitching a little bit,
So? Are they gonna miss us?
Luna looks over at Benny, looking just so oh, and it's yes, yeah, they're very thankful that they don't have to go into the fog, and they really hope we make it back.
Benny's gonna turn around and shout bye at them and wave.
They gallop faster.
Luna's gonna lean over to Anu and just we just got insulted by gazelles. I just need someone to know that.
I mean, they carried us the whole way here. I'm not surprised they resent us.
That's fair.
Okay. So you all begin to enter the fog?
Not before Benny lashes us all together.
Oh, yes. Smart. Good choices.
Make good choices.
So Benny will tie a rope. You're very proficient at this now. You've done it quite a few times. So you definitely are able to wrap each other together quite tightly in a nice single file line, or however you want it to be. And so you enter and begin to walk deep into this dense air. It feels very thick, it's almost solid, and you feel great resistance as you pass through. It feels really like oily as well. It almost feels slick as you are trudging through this fog. And as you walk through this gray, I would like someone who's in the front of the party.
I can go first.
All right, Anu. Roll me a survival check, please.
Oh, alrighty. That's a 15.
Oh, not quite. So as you're walking, as you're walking, you are all being as tentative and careful as possible, but in front of you, Anu, you crash into a gigantic tree that seems to be about 15 feet in circumference and immeasurably tall. You crash straight into it, and it sort of gives you a bonk on the head, and I would like you to take 1 point of damage.
Yow! Sorry, I didn't see this tree here. Can you guys see how far up that goes?
Luna looks up. I don't know if she can even see anything at all.
No, literally not. Like, it's so dense.
I guess we just have to go around.
Yeah, just step very carefully.
So you all walk a little bit more tentatively and with more caution, and as you pass, you start to sort of hear sounds coming from all around you in the fog. There are fleeting whispers, and they're sort of rushing through and around you. And it almost sounds like horses galloping, encircling you. And suddenly you all get a very sinking feeling in your stomach, like something horrible is about to happen. Luna, you start to see your surroundings shift. The world is still gray, only now you can see long bars jutting up from the ground, starting to form a cube around you. You can see at the top of this cube, the bars continue, creating sort of a cage. And the bars look like they are made of iron. Suddenly, they all start to glow a frosty blue, and they feel so cold that they are radiating freezing sparks that transport you back to the horrible winters of Philovin. You feel the sensation of horrible frostbite starting to crawl up your extremities, and you hear a cruel voice in your ears. You never should have left. You were never meant to go anywhere. Your prison is your home. Cold, desolate, death. That is your destiny. That is where you belong, frozen in misery. The bars then start to shift, and they become to suddenly be blazing white hot with fire, and you are instantly suffocated with the heat that is radiating. You feel as though you are burning slowly, and you hear another voice come into your head. Foolish child, all you wanted was adventure, and to leave your home, and all you've gained is a fiery demise. This is what you wanted, and I shall grant you your wish. As this is happening, Anu, you start to feel the familiar crunch of snow under your feet. You look ahead of you and you see Dorian filling in a grave. He doesn't look at you as you approach, and he speaks in a voice that sounds far harsher and a little off from what you are accustomed to. He says, Anu, you have committed a grave offense to death. Taking a life before it's their time? I'm disappointed in you. You were supposed to be better than that. As you continue to approach, you can see in the grave, and you peer down, and you can see two bodies. The bodies of Corella and Nord, unceremoniously tossed into the hole. Their bodies are in there, in a crumpled heap at the bottom. Dorian suddenly stops filling the hole and finally turns to look at you, Anu. And his eyes, you can see nothing but rage and malice as he says, "A life for a life, Anu. You did not honor the dead, nor were these lives yours to have domain over. Their fate will be your fate, gone before your time and tossed away, worthless." And Anu, you see that the bodies of Corella and Nord start to twitch and rise from the hole. They begin to climb up and advance on you. You find that you cannot move. Your feet are frozen in place. And as Anu is experiencing this, Benny, your vision starts to become blurry. You blink a few times, and the world becomes clear. You are standing in the entrance of the healer's hut back in Philovin. It is about midday, and there is some light streaming through the window, yet there is no fire in the hearth. There is a smell of almost like a dusty residue in here, as though the space has been left unused for a while. You don't hear any sounds of Rose's cheery voice, no sounds of his usual jaunty singing as he prepares potions. It feels empty and abandoned in here. You walk deeper into the house and you find Rose sitting at a table writing a letter on a piece of parchment. He looks up at you, and there is no smile on his face. He looks at you as though you are a stranger.
"Oh, you're here. Well, I guess we can do this. Well, I guess we can stop playing these games then now. Benazir. I was going to leave this note for you, but I suppose it's less of a hassle this way. I can't pretend to love you anymore, Benazir. I can't pretend to push you anymore for your own benefit, when really all I wanted was for you to not be my burden anymore. How am I supposed to manage someone who can't speak up for themselves? How am I supposed to be there for you when you won't even speak or be confident or do anything for yourself? Taking you in that day, I had to plaster on a fake smile. So I'm leaving you, Benazir. Now cry if you must, but I won't be here to coddle you. Being saddled with you was the regret of my life."
And Ro leaves you there, and you hear the click of a door shutting, leaving you alone. This once warm home, now cold and bleak. Whoever wants to go first with interacting with their environment may do so.
As soon as the bars start appearing around Luna, she jumps up and starts like grabbing the bars, trying to move them somehow to try to escape.
'Tis futile, and as you touch them, you start to feel as though your hands are starting to go black with frostbite at the initial emergence of these bars surrounding you.
She'll stumble back and clutch her hands to her chest, trying to warm them back up. And then as she starts to hear the voices, she just covers her ears. And it's no, I was meant to leave. I was meant to go.
And as that voice finishes and the other one appears, you start to feel the heat radiating, and it's just stifling. You feel it's almost like you can't breathe. It's almost worse than what you experienced at the hottest peak of being in Lilivelle.
And she'll clutch her hands to her throat and I will not die here.
And you hear the voice just laughing at you
Your fate is to die alone and with no one to love you.
No, you're wrong.
Benny, at first feels a little bit of a blow to those words, those being what she's been afraid to hear her whole life, that she is exactly what she had thought she had been. But then as she has that thought, she realizes that that's past tense. Though she may not be confident all the time, she's incredibly capable, and that's not how she sees herself anymore. So she's gonna stand up a little bit taller and then shout into the fog. If you think that's what he'd tell me, you don't know my dad.
You start to hear a voice laughing at you.
Benevere, you have been nothing but a burden your whole life. Nobody has wanted you.
You wish you had a life as rich and as love-filled as mine, you awful creature. And she's gonna feel where her waist is. Can she feel the rope?
Yeah. Like, the physical world is still there around you.
She's gonna pull on the rope and try to pull Luna and Anu closer to her.
Oh, so like
side.
one hand on each side? Okay.
Yeah, one hand on each side
Yeah.
and just try to pull the rope in.
Yeah. Well, you roll a strength check. Anu, how are you handling the situation?
First, I'm gonna channel divinity and turn undead. So that they are turned. They have to succeed on a wisdom saving throw DC 15.
Okay. Yeah, they both save.
All right. Then as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Okay.
It's going to pull up a great big, like, Gravedigger's shovel. And then I'm going to make an attack roll against the closest one to me.
Yeah, they're still crawling up towards you. Very, like, claws sort of going into the dirt that's frosted over as they are advancing on you. Eyes looking milky white, like there is no more color in their body, and they both look very ashen and sort of starting to begin the beginnings of decay. And you can swing at Nord.
I swung at Nord, but it was a nat 1.
Oh, so you actually are so scared, and you accidentally nick your own toe as you are swinging down, trying to attack, but you are just being petrified by the sight of these dead people coming at you, and you can hear in your ears,
You think that you had dominion over our deaths. You think yourself a god just simply because you dig the graves. You have no respect for the dead.
That's wrong. There is a poison at the wellspring of this continent, and it must be cleansed. People aren't dying the way that they're supposed to. They're dying of extreme cold, of extreme heat. There's no natural order to the way that things live and the way that things die. It's been broken. It's been shattered. It's been shattered for 500 years, it has. And I have a chance to set it right. And what happens along the way needs to happen in order to set things the way that they're supposed to be.
and you can hear Norse say, as he's still clambering up this grave, "You think that it is of your hand that those should die unjustly? You think you have the power to control life and death? You simple mortal. You have no comprehension of life and death."
You know what? Why don't I show you what I know about life and death, huh, Doran? Why don't I show you what I know?
And Benny, what did you get for your strength?
So Benny, with her crown on her head and the confidence that Ro would never speak to her that way. She rolled an 18 plus 1 for a total of 19 on her strength.
Nice. So you pull all of your friends close to you. You can feel their backs as they connect. As you're pulling the rope, you can feel that they are beside you, though you can't actually see them. You feel their presence, but you are still in this hut back in Philovin. And everyone, please roll a wisdom saving throw.
Right, that is a 21.
Oh, beautiful.
I got 10.
15 for me.
Nice. So, Anu, as you sort of feel the presence of Benny's hand against your back, and just as these two corpses are starting to crawl their way out and start lunging at you, the scene shifts and you are back within the fog. You can't see anything anymore other than just the gray thickness that surrounded you prior, and you can feel Benny's warmth, reassuring you that you are safe. Benny, the scene shifts and dissolves, and you are again back in this gray fog surrounding you. The horrors have ceased, and you can feel Anu sort of relaxing as well, as he has also been lifted from this prison of his mind. Unfortunately, Luna, you are still stuck in this mental prison where you are still screaming that it is not true, that you were born for more than this, that you are loved, and you can't hear anything, but you can feel the warmth from Benny's hand as she's pulled you closer to her.
Luna just kind of still has her hands to her ears and is just shaking her head, and she drops to her knees, and in the vision to her she's screaming, but in real life it's just kind of no, 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 no.
Can I try shaking Luna awake?
Yeah. What are you going to say to her, and can you roll a medicine?
All right. I say, Luna, listen to me. We're here. It's us. It's Benny. It's Anu. We're in the fog, right? We're pushing onwards. We're almost there. We've almost made it home. And that is a 26 for medicine.
Yeah. You shake Luna, and your words start to cut through all of this anguish and fear, and Luna is sort of clutching her eyes closed, but slowly opens them and can't see you, but is able to feel you and know that what you're saying is true, and the strength of your words have pulled her out of this mental prison.
Luna opens her eyes and slowly puts her hands down from the side of her head and looks up, and her face is just tear streaked. She's been absolutely sobbing as she looks at Anu kneeling in front of her.
Listen, you're all right. You're all right. And if it's all right, Anu's gonna try to give Luna a hug.
That's fine.
Benny's gonna drop down as well and put one hand on either of your guys' shoulders and then just rest her forehead against you. Guys, we've got this. Nothing can stop us.
Luna sniffles a little bit and pulls back from Anu and wipes her face. I am not dying here. We are seeing this to the end.
Absolutely.
And through the horrors of your visions you just witnessed, you are able to decipher that they are not real. They are just fragments of fear brought on by the madness of the fog. And as you recover from what you had just experienced, you start to see a soft purple light flicker in the distance. It seems to be coming closer to you, and you can soon see the outline of a person. Setting a 15-foot radius, you see a tall, high elf with short brown curly hair holding a candle lantern with a purple flame casting a clearing light around the fog. Within this 15-foot circle, the purple light glows and the world is clear. You can see that there is trees and grass beneath your feet. The world maintains a gray hue. All the colors seem to be muted. But the high elf raises a hand to you in greeting and says, "You should not be here, Lilivelians. Those who venture too far never feel the sand between their toes again. You must go back now. I will lead you to the border and tell your people to respect the barrier and the boundary, lest you fall prey to the madness once more."
Sorry, sir, you're actually, mistaken. Quite mistaken, actually.
In what regard?
We couldn't be further from Lilvel, really. We hail from Philoven, and have no such arrangements, so we are able to be here.
Yet you wear Lilivelian garb.
Oh, we've made our way around, but believe me, Philoven is home.
I see. Then I shall attempt to take you to the Philovenian border, and you may exit there.
That's the thing, though. We're not going to exit.
We have no intention of exiting, actually.
We're going to go farther in.
You wish to die in agonizing fear from the madness of the fog? Seems a ill-fated choice, but I suppose if you wish. And he starts to turn around, ready to walk away from you.
We've freed all 4 of the elements. We're here to finish creating balance. It's time for harmony to be restored.
He stops dead in his tracks and whirls around and says, Do you mean this?
Yes. It hasn't been easy, that's for sure.
Well, if that is the truth, I am Benevel of Darborough's Last. If your intentions are true, I will lead you to the Lore Keeper. She will tell you the tale of the fall, and you shall see if your journey shall bear victory for us all. Follow me.
Lead the way.
And Benevel leads you deeper into the fog, and as you pass along within this 15-foot sphere, you can see that you are passing what looks to be great stones. They are scattered all around the ground, and you can see that they look like ruined buildings. You spot toppled walls and cracked roofs, and you can see the indentations in the grass where foundations for homes must have once laid. You see, we had once great stone buildings that mingled with nature effortlessly. We were the closest in proximity to where balance culminated, as Starborough was the largest of the 5 domains, and its mountain was the pillar of our greatness. We have come very far after the fall.
If you don't mind me asking, why has no one here in Darborough tried to restore balance?
'Tis impossible. We must be here to keep the lore. We must be here when those who are championing for our entire continent venture into the cavern. And we must be the ones to tell their story.
I don't want to be rude, but isn't turning around every person that enters the borders not really giving anyone a fair shot at trying to champion for the land?
No one has ever expressed their intention for championing. You have been the only ones, hence why I lead you to our encampment. It's a small village, but we do our best.
No disrespect, just curiosity. Has the fog been there your whole life?
Oh, no. I don't remember a lot. I was but a child when the fog originated. But 'twas not always here.
Wait, so you're like 500 years old?
Indeed, in fact, I am 502.
Benny's gonna like turn over her shoulder in like a silent like what at everybody.
I guess with as harsh as conditions are for people, I kind of forgot that people can live to be quite old.
I suppose so, but I am greatly outshadowed by our lore keeper. She is in fact 700 years old.
Older than the abandonment?
Far older.
So she would remember so much about everything.
Would she be able to tell us how this all started? And the priestesses? And why we're all getting visions about that smoke dude?
She can. If she is willing, she will. If your intentions are true, and you do not seek to further our blight, she will inform you. So you all are led to a clearing with 5 wooden cabins. There are many of these purple-flamed candles hanging from hooks on the cabins, as well as those that are placed around the grounds, ensuring the fog is kept at bay. There is a fire burning at the center of the grounds, and you can smell a hearty stew is being cooked in a cauldron over the charcoals. There are 5 people sitting around the fire on the grass with wooden spoons and bowls, and they're enjoying their evening meal. They look up at you as you approach.
Hello. What's for dinner? For you, we brought our own food. We're not asking.
Well, please, there is plenty. This is a stew of onions, carrots, bear, and green cabbage. With some bay leaves and black pepper, of course, for taste.
Did you say stew?
Yes, are you hungry?
Famished. And Anu pulls his bowl out and starts grabbing a serving of the stew.
You can see this high elf. In fact, all of them are high elves, are all sitting around, and the person who just spoke to you is sort of giggling a little bit. I am Treya. Pleased to see you.
Anu. And this is Benny and Luna.
Pleasure.
Hello.
Stew's kind of his love language.
Well, the pleasure will remain to be seen, but you are all welcome at this fire.
Treya, are you the lore keeper?
Oh, no. She is still in her cabin. She will emerge fairly shortly, I assume.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be presumptuous. We had just heard she, and then you were a she, so I jumped to conclusions.
'Tis all right. Please sit.
Thank you.
So you all sit around the fire and are offered some stew, and Benevel says, "We are the last of the Jarbarive, those who remember the land as it once was. Our keeper of history, she is wise, and we do our part not to forget the tragedy that befell us." And you see Benevel kind of like look over to one of the cabins and nod. She will see you momentarily.
So if it wouldn't be strange to ask, how old are all of you? Because where we're from, people don't really make it that long.
Treya starts to kind of like look over and smile, just on one side, not a smirk, but just sort of a half smile, and says, "Well, I'm precisely 500. Another high elf kind of looks over, sort of like spoon and bowl sort of lifted to his face, so he's sort of looking up, and he's sort of like, "I am 450. And you see another high elf man sort of like stretching his legs out by the fire with one propped up, and he's sort of leaning over on his like forearm is sort of on his knee as he's stretched out on the ground, says, "I am 602. You see another high elf woman, and she says, "I am 400 193.
That's just... I can't even imagine being alive that long.
It's been quite a long time for us, but we are the lucky ones. We survived by whatever powers that be that deemed us worthy of survival.
Were there others who weren't so fortunate?
You can see Benevel get very sad. Yes, there were once more of us.
May I ask what happened?
Many were not as lucky to even make it out of the city during the fall. Those who did, some of us were scattered in the fog. Some of them died from madness. Some of them died of starvation, unable to see through the fog to find sustenance.
Has this fog been here ever since the fall?
Yes. We were the lucky ones who were able to stay with the Lore Keeper. And her powers are what is keeping us from madness, keeping some light in this dark time.
Is the Lore Keeper the one that made the candles?
Yes.
Do you know if this purple flame would be of benefit to us and where we're going?
It will.
Is it something she can teach?
It is not. But she will give you enough to get by. And as you are all eating and chatting, you see a woman with long silver hair that it reflects the purple light of the candles. She is wearing a long silk dress of silver as well, and with a belt of white gems fastened around her waist. Her eyes are very gray, and yet they seem as though they are emitting purple light themselves. She exits her cabin and walks over to you, but does not sit down. She simply looks down at you all, with sorrow in her face. Could you really be here to return the spirits? Could you do what others before you could not? Will you have the strength to face the ultimate danger and return the spirits restored?
Luna looks to Benny and Anu, and then back to the Lore Keeper. We've freed the 4 elements already, and we are here to finish it. We are ready to take on whatever we need to.
Then I shall teach you what happened. I am Yvain. I was there the day that the spirits were overthrown, cast into eternal imprisonment, and we were left under the reign of chaos. The high priestesses were fair and just. They were conduits in which our communication and bond with the spirits flourished. They took care of our people, all of the people, from all 5 domains. Each priestess was awarded an acolyte, whom, with a small team, would work as both advisor and delegate to ensure that the priestesses were free to perform their sacred rites. The unrest began when my mother, the soon-to-be crowned High Priestess of Harmony, was chosen over another. The other thought that she could bring this world to great development. Thea was her name. She would boast often of how she would bring about great change and renewal to the world. She stated that she knew some way in which our lands could thrive further, and yet, the day that my mother was meant to be anointed, the sky grew dark. The wind picked up, blowing in cold and hot gusts. the mountain shook and the spirit of chaos appeared, ending my mother before her time, and throwing the world into madness. People ran from the city, their screams still echo in my mind. The other priestesses tried to call upon the elements to fight back against this evil, and yet the spirits did not come to our aid. It had been too late. We were able to make it out by whatever powers deemed us worthy when so many had lost their lives in the fall of the great mountain. As it sunk deep, the fog emerged. Shadows and madness tried to pursue us. I was somehow able to summon the power of harmony, and she gestures towards the purple candles, in order to keep what lurks in the fog at bay. And now, we have been trapped in these woods, waiting, hoping, remaining until such a day would come that harmony would be restored and balance would return to the world.
I can't even imagine how hard that must have been.
The fall destroyed us. The fall destroyed us all. We tried to remain and pick up the pieces of what we could, but until harmony and until balance returns, there is naught that we could do.
We've freed the spirits. And now we're here. What do we do next?
The great shift will begin to initiate. With the other spirits free, the spirit of harmony will be feeling them, and will be very eager and antsy to be freed as well. You must go under the mountain, and you must free it, lest our world be plagued for all eternity by chaos's reign.
What's one more mountain for us to go into?
I mean, we've been doing good so far.
Yes, you have, child. If you have, in fact, freed the rest of the spirits, if we are this close to being able to return to our glory, to what Concordia has been and what was always meant to be.
As I said, we came here to finish what we started.
Then go. Walk the path. Be victorious. And you see Beneval stand up and put his bowl and spoon down. I will lead you to the mountain base. May you finally rid us of this curse.
Absolutely. Do you have any resources or aid you could lend us to help us in this battle?
We cannot interfere with your destiny, lest we alter it and turn the tide towards chaos. What I can do is give you these candles. And she summons 3 lanterns to give to each of you. And they sort of form in your hands. Take these and go in safety. Do not be compelled by madness. Madness is simply chaos's last resort. Walk the path. Make it to the mountain. And defeat the final foe.
Well, guys,
Time to bring back balance.
I'm ready if you all are.
So with your lanterns, Beneval starts to lead you away from the cabins. Everyone sort of gives you tentative smiles. Some of them wave with very short sort of like hand up and then down. You can see Yvain look at you all with such hope and such sorrow, and you can sort of gauge that she has perhaps seen others make an attempt but fail, and you sort of get this feeling that if you fail this time, there is no going back. So you are led by Benevel deeper into the domain to the center. The fog becomes even thicker, and the candles almost are unable to clear a way through. Yet you are still able to press on. You reach the great crater that leads deep into the earth, and Benevel looks at you all, each individually in the eyes, one at a time, and says, "I will wait here for your return, warriors of spirit. Let destiny decide your fate, and may your victory come swift. If you are not to return within 3 days, I must leave you."
Understood.
Makes sense.
And he sort of bows his head and waits for you expectantly to start making your descent into the crater.
And descend we shall.
You guys ready to save the world?
We've already been saving the world. This is just the last step.
I like the way you think, Anu.
And I'm ready to take that step, if you both are.
And with that, you begin your last descent into freeing the spirit of harmony. And with that, we're going to end the episode.
All right.
Do.